Every LLM team has experienced this moment. A demo that wows the room, a system that feels magical, and then the slow-motion disaster of production. The problem isn't the model, the architecture, or even the team's skill. It's that probabilistic systems cannot be validated the same way deterministic software can. When your code either works or it doesn't, eyeballing feels reasonable. When your system is right 90% of the time, you need to know exactly what the other 10% looks like before your users find out for you. Here's a counterintuitive reality that senior ML engineers learn the hard way. The more you work with a system, the worse your intuition becomes about its failure modes. You start pattern matching on the cases you've seen, mentally filling in gaps the model leaves open. Real users don't do that. They probe edges you never imagined, ask questions in dialects and phrasings you never tested, and combine features and sequences that expose brittle assumptions baked deep into your prompt chain. Trust in probabilistic systems must be earned through measurement, not developed through familiarity. The most disciplined LLM teams follow a discipline that mirrors test-driven development. They write their evaluation suite before they write their first prompt. This forces a crucial conversation that most teams skip entirely. What does success actually mean for this feature? Not in a fuzzy, it should feel helpful sense, but in a precise, measurable, falsifiable sense. When you define the target before you build toward it, you eliminate an enormous source of drift where the system gradually optimizes for what's easy to produce, rather than what's genuinely valuable to users. There is a profound difference between saying a system should sound professional and saying it must never surface authenticated user data to unauthenticated sessions. The first statement is an aesthetic preference that two engineers will disagree about in a code review. The second is a testable invariant you can run against every deployment. Building rigorous evals forces you to have the uncomfortable conversations about risk tolerance, compliance requirements, and user trust that teams often defer until something goes wrong. Those conversations are far cheaper before launch than after a trust-destroying incident. Every change to a prompt, a model version, a retrieval strategy, or a temperature setting is a potential regression vector. Without versioned evals that run automatically on every change, you have no way to distinguish intentional improvements from accidental degradations. Teams that skip this step often discover regressions through user complaints weeks after a change that seemed benign. The discipline of tracking, not just whether your system is improving, but whether it's getting worse in any dimension, is what separates teams that iterate confidently from teams that are afraid to touch their production system. When engineers invent test cases in a brainstorming session, they inevitably reflect the assumptions and mental models of the people in the room. Real users don't share those mental models. They bring wildly different expectations, language patterns, cultural contexts, and creative misuses that no internal team would generate on their own. The highest signal eval data comes from actual production traffic, anonymized and analyzed for the patterns that reveal where your system struggles. Even a small corpus of real failure cases will teach you more than hundreds of synthetic happy path scenarios you invented yourself. Nobody publishes breathless blog posts about their evaluation harness. The conference talks are about multi-agent systems and retrieval architectures and reasoning chains. But when you look at the teams shipping LLM products that users actually trust and return to, they share something almost mundane: a culture of disciplined measurement. They know what good looks like, they track it continuously, and they treat degradation as a 5-alarm incident. Architecture choices are reversible. User trust, once lost, is extraordinarily expensive to rebuild. Invest in the infrastructure that protects your reputation before you invest in the infrastructure that expands your capabilities. If your LLM-powered system is in production right now without a structured evaluation process, that gap is your single highest leverage opportunity. Not a new model, not a new framework, not a more sophisticated agent architecture, just the fundamental discipline of deciding what success looks like before you ship and building the infrastructure to verify it continuously. In production environments, what you can measure, you can fix. What you cannot measure, you can only apologize for after users have already formed an opinion. The teams that will win with AI are not the ones with the most impressive demos. They are the ones who have defined, measured, and systematically improved what good actually means.